So you're learning about how systems of oppression shape our lives, how they've impacted you on a personal level, on a relational level, on a spiritual level, so many levels. And you're setting conscious intentions now to realign yourself back to integrity with your values. How do you embody your values in a, I'm going to say it, apocalyptic world organized by white supremacist heterocapitalist patriarchy? How do you do it? I can tell you, implementing change as a human being is not only a skill, but it's also an art. And I know from experience, I'm pretty deeply immersed in this work, and I have been for a few years now. I've experienced so many changes in my life, like internally. And I've helped many folks implement their own personal transformation so they can live more in alignment with their values. And so these videos that I'm creating in this moment are designed to create a foundational understanding for you to be able to follow through with your intentions, to realign your actions to reflect your values in the world. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to need to break down a few different things. So this will be a series, a short series. The first thing is understanding human consciousness, understanding the animal body, and, well, there's so much to say there, so that's the first thing. And the second thing is understanding how to regulate the nervous system. Without understanding the animal body and how to regulate your nervous system, you're going to have an extremely difficult time implementing the change that you desire in your life. Is it possible? Yeah. Ugh, but even just imagining it sounds kind of cringe to me. Like it's not going to be an easeful or pleasurable experience. So I'm going to offer you the wisdom that I have gained over the years through this everyday life that I'm living, embodying my values, pivoting, when I notice myself out of alignment, and setting conscious intentions and then following through with the change that I intend to set for myself. I'm going to share with you the life lessons I have learned, the deep universal truths, so that you can do the same. So the first foundational piece of universal wisdom that you need to understand in order to follow through with the intentions that you set for yourself, you must understand the relationship between the animal body and the ego. So you can think of the animal body, and by the way, if you didn't realize this, human beings are animals, right? Like human supremacy, we like to put humans on the top of this hierarchy that we're entitled to more rights than other forms of life, which is not true. It's a story of the ego, paradigm of domination. And so we tend to distance ourselves from other animals by calling ourselves humans and calling animals animals. But I'm going to use the language here, human animals and non-human animals, because at the end of the day, we're all just animals. And it is this illusion of separateness, this illusion of superiority, that human beings are not animals. This delusion often gets in the way of folks living with conscious intention and following through with the change they desire to implement in their life. So let's break it down. Okay, so the animal body is a sovereign being. I like to think of my body as an extension of the earth, the same way that the plants and the trees have no right or wrong way of existing. My body was created from the same stardust, the same life force energy, the same divine creation energy as the trees, as the plants, as the stars, as all of life that exists. So, how could I even claim this body? I didn't make this body. This body was birthed out of something so much bigger than just me. So the way I relate to my body is that I don't own this piece of flesh, but as a way to be in relationship with spirit, the part of me that is spirit shining through this vessel that is my animal body, the way that I show love and respect life and respect spirit is by stewarding this body the same way a human being would steward the land. So, my job as spirit in a human body is to align my mental consciousness with my body's consciousness. Dun dun dun! Body's consciousness, you say? Yes. The animal body the animal body is a sovereign being, and it has its own consciousness. Most people in the West do not understand this. It took me a long time to understand this. Your subconscious mind is the animal body. Your ego is the animal body because the ego is on autopilot. The body, the animal body, breathes on its own. It digests on its own. I'm not using my conscious thoughts and saying, go digestion, go lungs. Like, I could override my system and take some deep breaths, but the body is literally an autonomous being, and a lot of the survival skills that our body implements for us is completely out of our conscious awareness. The animal body, as a sovereign being, uses all of the senses, even the ones that we have not identified as one of the 5 senses. There's so many things happening at the same time in the background of the conscious awareness, where the body is in relationship with the environment, receiving the input from the environment, and communicating to the thinking mind based on how safe the animal body perceives itself to be in the environment. So, for example, if I learned as a child that if I were to express my needs, that I might potentially get punished, my animal body, not my conscious mind, my animal body will internalize this learning. It's really a data point of wisdom that my body accumulates and makes sense out of with the patterns in order to make sure that this body stays alive on this planet. So it's really divine intelligence. But the body will associate expressing needs with physical danger. And so I might feel my heartbeat elevate. I might feel my body fill with adrenaline. And that's not my conscious decision. I'm not saying, hey, body, let's get ready for battle. No. My body, my animal body, is a sovereign being with its own consciousness. And so for me to understand how I'm existing in the world, I must be in relationship with my animal body. I must merge my mental thinking mind, my brain consciousness, with my animal body's consciousness. It is this merging of consciousness that creates oneness within the self. Otherwise, let's say I am safe in, let's say, a romantic relationship. I'm a whole adult now, and I'm in this romantic relationship, and I know I'm safe to express my needs there. But even with the mental knowing, the logical knowing that I am safe to express my needs and they will be received with love and encouragement, my animal body is still acting outside of my consciousness. My subconscious animal body is still sending the signals to prepare for battle. And so I might get tight breathing, I might start hunching over and getting into the trauma pose of like, protect, hide, or possibly even run, the flight response, So this is often a big obstacle that gets in the way with following through with change, is being so disconnected from the animal body that you don't even understand what is influencing your thoughts and your behaviors, because whether or not you are consciously aware of your animal body's consciousness and the things this sovereign being does on its own to ensure your survival, does not negate the impact that it has in your life. You don't have to be aware of it in order for it to be running the show, because it is running the show. That's what I'm telling you. Even if you have a conscious thought that is like, I must leave this area to stay safe, your animal body ultimately communicated that to you, whether or not you're aware of it. So, in order to make conscious decisions and set conscious intentions, you have to be in relationship with your body, the same way you might be in relationship with the land. And if you're not in relationship with the land, I mean, that's a place to look. That, life is fractal in the sense that every little aspect of our lives is a greater reflection of the whole. They're like a bunch of puzzle pieces. So the way you relate to your body is most likely the way you relate to the earth, is most likely the way you relate to non-human animals, is most likely the way you relate to other human bodies. So if you focus on just one of these areas, it will have ripple effects in all the other areas of your life as well. Thanks for being so invested in implementing change in your life so that you can live in alignment with your values and be part of the future that the world literally needs. We create the future by embodying it, and you investing in yourself by connecting to your subconscious animal body and realigning your behaviors to reflect your values by setting conscious intentions. That is all part of the bigger contribution to shifting the world out of a state of scarcity and control and into a state of love and abundance. So thank you for being so invested that you watched all the way up until this point. Let me know what questions you have in the comments. It's possible I can make another video to address questions, especially if they're questions a lot of folks have. I am so here for that. Stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to put a link somewhere so you'll see it. But yeah, let me know questions right now, and also maybe watch part 2 before you ask questions, because it is possible that I will answer your questions in part 2.